Good afternoon from the Circus Sports of the Main Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Ross Johnston. We've had another coaching hire as the Cleveland Browns are hiring Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken to be their head coach. Monken has been the OC in Baltimore since 2023, and multiple sources now report that the Browns will be losing defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, who was visibly upset after not getting the job. Also, in some other major NFL news, Seth Wickersham has reported that former Patriots and Browns head coach Bill Belichick will not be a first-ballot Hall of Famer as he fell short of the 40 out of 50 votes that are needed for induction in the first year of eligibility. Number 18, Vanderbilt dominated Kentucky last night, 80-55 at Memorial Gym. Also in a top 5 showdown, number 3, Michigan held on in Ann Arbor to beat number 5, Nebraska, 75-72. Lastly, Tennessee basketball is back on the hardwood tonight as they head to Athens to face the 16-4 Georgia Bulldogs with tip set for 6 p.m. Central. You can listen to the game right here on The Zone as Vol Network's coverage begins at 5:30 after 3HL. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Well, the Titans have an offensive coordinator, Blaine, as Brian Daboll is officially announced to be hired to the Tennessee Titans under Robert Saleh. Yesterday, Jelly Roll actually had the news first, broke it right before Jordan Schultz did.
Is that actually true, though?
Yeah, I look at the timestamps. Jelly Roll had it. Jelly Roll had it at I think it was 3:27, and Jordan Schultz put it out at 3:28. So it was a minute before. So
somebody just could type faster than that?
Maybe
He beat out Schefter?
He beat out everybody, Blaine.
Ooh, wow.
We're talking about NFL.
That's true, Ross. You believe this?
I believe it. I know he's got sources in that building.
Everybody's talking about it. I heard people say that there was awesome that the national media went along with this. So that's why I asked.
A lot of people
went along with it.
So
you not followed me, yeah.
Went along with it.
Yeah, like that was not actually true. So
I will say his tweet was out before anybody else's, and that's all the evidence I have.
That's
for
like
that
looking
right
at
there.
a stat. You know, that's like because the stats will lead you down the wrong path, though.
That's okay. Let's just pretend that Jelly Roll is a national NFL insider.
I love Jelly Roll. I just don't know if that was true or not. It's just a lot of people say it was. I'm not one to believe if you haven't known that. Just believe what people say, even if it's factually in your face. Because guess what? Factually in your face, the Titans weren't very good, but theoretically they are on the uptick. So you can't see it. You just can't see it. You can only see it when the record displays it, not actually seeing how everything is starting to slowly come together. I'm talking about the team, not the actual coaching hires. So, that's kind of how I view it. Just because it's not right in front of your face doesn't mean it's not happening.
Well, I can tell you the feelings around the Titan are definitely on the uptick.
I don't base it off of feelings. I base off facts.
Off of facts.
Yeah.
But the fact is that feelings around Nashville are starting to move up as Brian Daboll gets hired as offensive coordinator. Welcome into Cover 2. I am not Zach Lyons. I am Joe Spinato filling in. Alongside me, the hitman, Blaine Bishop. And, Blaine, what was your initial reaction when the news became official that Brian Daboll was hired as offensive coordinator?
Well, I would say, you put them together with Saleh and Daboll, because the proof's in the pudding. We've seen what they can do, and at least they're going to get the organization back to, mid-level and competing every week and having a chance to win games. I think that's the exciting part for me. Being a former player, I never got over my skis with Callahan as much as I thought he was a nice guy. I never knew proof of concept of actually what he would do as a play caller, let alone a head coach. He's never been in that. I feel like now we have 3 head coaches. So I feel like there's a win-win all the way across the board if we're just 9-7. That's just predicting without even adding pieces to the puzzle as well as free agency, draft, everything else. I think now we got some competent coaching that hopefully then will lead to success. So I think the big question is everybody, as much as I am as well, giving Bergonzi a lot of the credit. How about everybody talk about what Miss Amy is a part of this process. You all talked bad about her when, they made these bad hires or firings and all of this. Haven't heard a mention
when
of her name now
right.
with this. So I'm just interested to see, why is that? This was a great, I'm over heels. I think this is the best, maybe considering the whole situation, this is the best thing that could have happened with Saleh and maybe getting McDaniel, but, Daboll's a good second, deal here at OC. So I like the moves and makes, and hey man, you got to give her credit for letting the football people do their job.
And to her credit, as we've seen this offseason of owners stepping in front of a microphone, it can go one of two ways. You could be like the Ravens ownership who stepped up and everyone, was confident in the direction of the franchise when they fired Harbaugh. He gave his credit to Harbaugh, but explained why they moved in that direction. Or you could have what the Bills did when they fired Sean McDermott, and Terry Pegula up there was just a mess. That press conference was a disaster, I should say. I mean, he admitted it was an emotional decision, admitted that it was because of the loss and because people were crying in the locker room after that playoff loss to the Broncos.
But think about this. Now, how do you view the players crying in the locker room?
I just feel like they're upset about the loss. I don't necessarily take that as, let's fire our head coach.
Right.
Which is crazy to me that
Did you take it that way, Ross?
No.
I mean, it's crazy to me that an owner admitted that is one of the reasons why he decided to fire a coach that had been to the playoffs and won a game in the playoffs 7 years in a row.
Maybe if he had told them that if we don't make it to the Super Bowl, this team will be dismantled and the head coach will be fired. You think they had that conversation first?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if he had a conversation with anybody. I think he just made the decision.
Well, I was just trying to think of a reason why, everybody would be crying. He thought that and he should fire the head coach. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out.
To your credit with Amy Adams-Strunk, she has gotten plenty of backlash from this Titans fan, but she has not faltered from how she runs this team. She kind of stays in the back. She steps in when she feels is needed, and she lets the football people do the football things. And so far, the football people have done football things very well to start this 2026 offseason. So you mentioned Mike Bergonzi, and Jordan Schultz kind of put how this went down a little bit yesterday with Brian Daboll in the background, and they were very well aware how much Daboll loved Cam Ward. And when it broke yesterday, all the reporting around it was Daboll had an affinity for Ward. Daboll loves Cam Ward. I mean, if you remember in the draft last year, they wanted to trade up with the Titans. Obviously, Mike Bergonzi and the Titans held at 1, picked their guy Cam Ward. I think Joe Shane, the general manager of the Giants, made that joking phone call right there at the deadline, right before the Titans picked, asking if they trade one more time. I think I think we should have a lot of confidence in the direction that this front office and that this coaching staff is moving to start this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, this is exciting time. This is probably the most exciting. I was very skeptical on the Callahan, but this one here, I'm trying to, temper my expectations because it's unfair to them, because you got to, players have to learn systems, have to get comfortable and all this. But as far as their football acumen and accomplishments, I think it speaks for itself. So I'm expecting really, really good things. And man, if we get, some football guys and football luck along the way, maybe we could have a quick turnaround. Who knows, and make the playoffs. You just never know.
I know you want to temper your expectations.
I do, man.
But coming up in the 2:00 hour, I'm going to try and get you to go off your tempered expectations for just a minute.
Oh, man, I'm excited.
Talking about what potential the 2026 Titans could have and which 2025 team they might be reflecting. I'll save that for
without the draft picks in the free agency.
Without just initial start. I might be bumping up expectations a little bit. Don't worry, we'll bring them back down. But when something exciting like this happens, you just got to think of all the possibilities that can happen. And so that's what I kind of going to do in the 2:00 hour. But with Brian Daboll, what, in your opinion, can he do for Cam Ward? Obviously, we know the offensive side of things, what he did with Josh Allen coming up, which I think a lot of people are giving him full credit on the Josh Allen rising star that happened in Buffalo. But But, Josh Allen was a lot to do with that too. But Daboll was there for his development for his first 4 years. Part of the coaching staff that drafted him, part of the coaching staff that developed him before he was able to go and get a head coach job with the Giants. In your opinion, what does this do for Cam Ward going into his second year?
Well, I mean, I want you to kind of explain, why do you think he wasn't part of the full elevation of Josh Allen besides Josh Allen in those first 4 years?
That.
Go ahead, Robert.
Because we've talked about, I've heard a lot of people talk about Daboll and Allen, like the development. And, of course, Brian Daboll played a part in that.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to put a damper on anybody, but, like, he didn't play a crazy huge part in that. And I say that to say I watched a video that they came out with over the summer NFL films about all these guys, just quarterbacks and how they throw the football. And Josh Allen was a part of it. And he credited a man who, I forget his name, so forgive me, but basically he worked with one of these QB trainers, gurus, whatever,
Right.
and completely changed his throwing motion. He said his rookie year, he was throwing like all shoulder, arm, and his arm was getting hurt.
What he did in college, yeah.
Yeah, and basically now like he's learned how to rotate and stuff after that season and, uppage and completion percentage and all these numbers and stuff. And now he's obviously turned into the Josh Allen we see today. Daboll is clearly a part of that. There's no lie, offensive coordinator, but
as well as Josh Allen, who
but yeah,
hired the
Josh
right
Allen and another third party person. So
yeah. But the other part is that he also helped him go through his maturation of understanding what the league is, and that's what I'm talking about.
And that's
Daboll.
the big part.
And then catered his offense around the skill sets.
That's
easier
it right
for Josh
there.
Allen, who's a super talented, one of the most talented players in the National Football League, just in general, even outside of just quarterback, with his running ability as well as his strong arm. And that's what he came into the league as, a big arm, strong arm guy. But you want your quarterback to make the customary routine throws, which is what you're going to be making more of than deep ball throws. And that, to me, is where he's perfected his game. And now I don't know how much Daboll was a part of that or Josh Allen, but at the same time, with changing his throwing motion, that's what how many deep balls do you think you throw in a game, and how many mid-range short passes do you make a game? And I'm just guessing. Every game is different, but on average, you got to think you're going to make more shorter throws.
I would say
than longer
you're
throws.
probably over maybe like 60%
I think that's
of
where he became really good, let alone his just natural ability. And then I think how about this? Wasn't Daboll on the staff when Hurts to Tua?
Yes. So Alabama.
So two different style quarterbacks right there in college. Two different game plans. I thought it was ballsy by Saban to put Tua in, but then let alone they had the confidence they knew he could throw it around the yard. And they kind of changed how they went about it. They threw more than they ran, with vice versa.
Well, and
with
he saw it like we all saw it, like Hurts more dual threat quarterback, and honestly maybe more scary with his legs in college. Tua more pocket passer, beat you with his arm.
Yeah.
Also, you got to think that Daboll was responsible for one of Daniel Jones' most efficient years with the Giants. And you think about how much of a disaster that kind of was turning to be before Daboll got there. And then was it his first year that he won NFL Coach of the Year and took them to the playoffs?
2022.
His first year. And that was the year that Daniel Jones really exploded. And so he's done it with so many different quarterbacks and so many different style quarterbacks. And I know a lot of people.
That's why I like him. I think his versatility. I think he's going to cater the offense around the skill sets of the quarterback.
And think about it. He did it with Jackson Dart, too. Jackson Dart, he had to do it. And now I know he got fired, but things were trending the right way when they put Jackson Dart in. And
it's not his fault that Jackson Dart doesn't know when to slide and how to, not take bad hits.
But again, he had to change the offense from a Russell Wilson, which is what they were expecting, to when they put Jackson Dart in, because those are two, right now, and they're two very different players.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, got a huge game out of Russ this season. That Dallas game in week 2.
That's right.
And they had a big game with Jameis in Detroit. I forget if he was fired by then or not, but 3 quarterbacks and 3 big games out of all of them.
Yeah. Yeah, Daboll like table. How have we been saying it?
I think some people say like Daboll.
I was saying that yesterday, but not today.
Daboll is, I believe, how it's pronounced.
You know how our show is,
Daboll
Blaine.
like table.
Daboll like table.
Joseph normally pronounces stuff well, but then he gets on our show and he catches the little bug that we have going around that we can't pronounce names.
Yeah.
But, Brian Daboll, I think I said this yesterday, kind of when the news came out. I can't remember an offensive coordinator hire, or just a coordinator hire in general, that brought this much excitement to this fan base.
Ooh.
I mean, maybe I really can't. I don't know if you've got
Even
one.
LaFleur wasn't. No.
Yeah, like you think LaFleur, like Bones Fossil was like, but it wasn't like this.
Because it was special
Because it's
teams.
special
Well, it's 'cause he was
teams.
special
Yeah.
teams. Yeah, I love that.
I just
move there.
I can't remember a fan base rallying around
and that's
a
why
hire like
it
this.
makes me nervous because I'm that excited about just the teamwork of all the three guys now they have over special teams, offense, and head coach and defense. So it's just man, everything's on the right track.
Yes,
That's
it
all I
is.
could say.
And Jordan Schultz had another nugget for this yesterday before we head to break, that Mike Bergonzi and Robert Saleh were both together in pushing on this. Saleh was before he even got here. Bergonzi was when they brought him in for a head coaching interview.
Who said this?
Jordan Schultz, saying that both Bergonzi and Saleh were both separately on their own interested in Daboll, as offensive coordinator. And
Right.
so
They're on the same page.
the fact that your head coach
Right there.
and your general manager are on the same page, when's the last time we've really had that, like truly had that synergy within the building?
And also, I know a lot of people say, "Oh, okay, we got really 3 former head coaches. Let's just talk about Daboll and Saleh, 2 former head coaches. Oh, can they coexist?" No, that's all built on personalities and ego. And if you already have a relationship, that's an easy transition. If you didn't beforehand, it can become an issue. In this case, I don't think there will be an issue.
Yeah, they built a relationship as head coaches in New York,
Right.
and I think it's gonna work out well for them. But can't say it for sure. But wait, and
That's
see.
100%. But yeah, until you get in the
I,
act. But yeah, I believe in it.
I think they bond so well because both of their first wins as head coaches were against the Titans.
And they're both bald.
Yeah.
I think they could bond over what kind of like moisturizer they use on their scalps. Thoughts? Yeah.
Might be a little dry right now with this weather.
I wouldn't know. Right now, I still got some hair. So
Yeah, none of us are in the club.
Yeah,
we all got hair.
yeah.
So
I'm getting
I'm
there.
still hanging on.
Hairline's
What?
fading.
You got the good locks over
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Man.
The
You
hairline's-
represent the show well. Over
hairline's
there, man.
fading a little
You got
bit.
the locks and you got the stash, man.
Yeah, but the hairline's fading. I'm getting nervous. Too young for
Come
that.
on, man. Don't let me talk about no hairline fade, man, until you talk to me, man.
All right, when we come back, we're going to head down to Mobile, Alabama, where the Panini Senior Bowl is underway. Our guys Zach Lyons and Stoney Keeley are boots on the ground. We'll have Zach Lyons join us right here on Cover 2, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Welcome back into Cover 2, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. I'm Joseph Bonato, alongside me the hitman Blaine Bishop, and let's head down to Mobile, Alabama, where the one and only Zach Lyons is covering the Senior Bowl with Stoney Keeley from Football and Other F Words. Zach, how is Mobile, Alabama on this sunny Tuesday here in Nashville?
Well, it is sunny down here. The wind is blowing a little bit. When the wind's not blowing, you can feel every bit of 52 degrees that it is currently in Mobile. But when the wind's blowing, it dips down to about 42, it feels like. So they had when we arrived, it was a 21-degree wind chill down here in Mobile, which is like unheard of. This is definitely the coldest it's been, but of course, nowhere near as cold as everything that's happening in Nashville right now.
Did you prepare accordingly as far as dress?
I did. I prepared for everything. I probably overpacked, Blaine. I have like 6 pairs of shorts, and none of those will get used probably this week, except for maybe Friday, and several pairs of pants, and of course, my signature, all hoodies, all the week.
Your signature, all hoodies.
Yeah.
You got zip-up hoodies.
That's all I wear is hoodies. What'd you say?
Zip-up hoodies?
No zip-up hoodies. That one got a little. I had a zip-up hoodie that I wore all throughout the weekend when it was snowing, so it got a little damp, a little wet, a little dirty, smelly. Didn't have really time to wash it before I came on the trip.
Mm.
Well, Zach, before we head into what you're learning down there at the Senior Bowl, real quick, what are your thoughts on Brian Daboll? I keep saying Daboll. I need to get his name right.
Brian
Daboll like table, getting hired as the Titans offensive coordinator officially announced yesterday.
Well, we talked a little bit about it on Football and Other F Words last night where I said Daboll. Any which way you could say it, I said it last night, and I finally learned today that it's actually just Daboll. So I'm with you. It's going to be hard to break that habit. Of course, this show, Cover 2, is not known for pronouncing names right anyway. With me and Blaine. So it's going to be tough for us to break those habits. But I love it. I think it's a really good hire. We went a little bit more in depth last night, and I'm sure me and Blaine will get in depth when I get back. But we're talking about a guy that is known for adapting to his quarterbacks, and I know that there's a lot of RPO stuff that was associated with Daniel Jones and Jackson Dart up in New York, but he actually tried to lessen the hits in the design quarterback runs for Josh Allen because they were more fearful not of his talent but of him getting injured and all the hits he'd already taken his first 2 years. So with Cam Ward, I think this is a really good fit because he's going to be able to adapt everything he has learned throughout his career. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's been part of the dink and dunk Patriots offense. We've been talking about a guy that's part of the collegiate spread, the pro spread, air raid principles, kind of like what Cliff Kingsbury runs. Like, this is a guy that's kind of touched a little bit of everything, the veer and shoot. So this is a guy that's going to be able to adapt around Cam Ward. And I believe if I were to make a bet or a wager, Shea Tierney, who's been with him since his days at Alabama, who followed him from Alabama to Buffalo to New York, and Carmen Brasilia, who was his, and I hope I probably am not pronouncing that last name right, but who was with him up in New York as offensive line coach. Quarterback, Coach Shea Tierney, offensive line coach, Carmen Brasilia. So, like, those are really two really good hires also for Cam Ward. But ultimately, when you're talking about, and what we have talked about is like the head coach of the offense, you got a head coach who has also been a successful offensive coordinator. So you are getting that in Brian Daboll. And I think this is a really good hire for Cam Ward's development. Let's just pray and hope that everything we think of Brian Daboll and his fit with Cam Ward actually comes true, because we have fallen victim to this many a times with certain coaches, but Brian Daboll has actually proven that he can do what we are saying that he can do.
Hey, we're on with Zach down at the Senior Bowl. One more question outside of the Senior Bowl, and I got to get your opinion. I know you have a lot of opinions on a lot of different things, but this one here is baffling to me, and that is the big topic of the day is, Bill Belichick not being a first ballot Pro Football Hall of Fame. What were your thoughts when you heard that?
Well, we got the news in the stand yesterday, which we got all the news in the stands yesterday because of how practice is constructed this year compared to last year's. But, I couldn't believe it. I think it's utterly ridiculous. It's silly. I understand there's like you can only vote for 3 people out of 5 people, but if he's not one of the 3 people you're voting for, like, what are you even doing? Like, this feels very personal vendetta to me with some of these votes. And listen, I think the talk around it, like, well, you should have term limits for voters and all this stuff, which is stuff that's popping up today. Listen, it's a no-brainer. If you're not going to put in Bill Belichick, how can you put in Tom Brady? Like, it's a weird precedent to set, and it feels more personal than it does factual for me, because that is a first-ballot Hall of Fame head coach, no doubt. I mean, there's just no way around it. No ifs, ands, or buts. That guy, I know that stuff kind of went south after Tom Brady, but also he was part of Tom Brady growing into the quarterback that he was. His defenses that he helped design helped win them Super Bowls while Tom Brady was still growing as a quarterback. This is a guy that everybody was chasing after in the NFL. He had got so many coaches hired. He's got so many coaches to game plan for him. Like, it's utterly ridiculous that he was not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Just there's no real argument other than, well, I'm mad, or sanctity of the game or something like that, or like maybe he's like Bill Polian and it's just like, he kicked my butt, 30 times out of 35 times, and so I can't vote for him. I just don't get it.
Yeah, well, if you take it personal vendettas, then you shouldn't be able to be
exactly.
To me, that's just the way it has to be. But does that mean that Tom Brady won't be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I mean, probably not. They probably won't do it. So that, to me, that makes it even more personal, right?
Yeah, there's no way around it. On to the Senior Bowl. And, hey, I've been watching. I love the Senior Bowl, being that I'm in the Hall of Fame down there as well as played in this game. Man, I love watching the talent and see how they look all on the same field, very competitive nature. Kind of what's kind of stood out overall, what's the strengths and weaknesses of the Senior Bowl as far as position groups, and they all have some talented guys, but is it more high-level first round, second round guys, or is it more middling round guys there at the Senior Bowl this year?
I would say that's probably more day 3 guys, but I don't think that's a knock on any of the talent that's down here. There's a lot of guys that can work their way up from day 3 to third round, from third round to second round. There's a lot of guys doing themselves a lot of favor down here and competing. I haven't noticed any kind of talent drop-off or anything. I think the biggest surprise for me, Blaine, is that the cornerback and defensive back group down here, on paper, we were driving in on Monday. We're going through the rosters, me and Sony in the car. And we're just like, man, these defensive backs, name after name after name, talent after talent after talent. On paper, these guys should dominate the wide receivers down here. But that's what's great about the Senior Bowl, is that everybody is down here to compete. They don't care about the logo on your helmet. All they want to do is compete. And the wide receivers yesterday exceeded expectations. And you have a lot of small school wide receivers outshining a lot of SEC, Big Ten cornerbacks. And these cornerbacks, on paper, were better. But these wide receivers yesterday, they just said, screw the paper. We're lighting it on fire. We don't give a crap about the reputations. We're going to bring it to you. And short of some really bad throws, the wide receivers could have really dominated yesterday. And there's one wide receiver down here. He's 5'11", roughly 190 pounds. Tyron Montgomery. He's a wide receiver from John Carroll. Now, he started at Nicholls State and then went to John Carroll last year. This guy was putting everybody on skates yesterday. He was making contested catches up in the air, climbing the ladder.
One-handed.
A kid from John Carroll was doing that. And the other kid from Georgia State, Ted Hurst, who's a lot bigger and taller, a kind of a draft nerd fan favorite down here, one-handed catch on Julian Neal. I thought for sure from my angle was a pass breakup, but then all of a sudden you see the referee say touchdown. That was another one-hand catch. Small school wide receivers are showing out against big-time names, and that to me has been the most surprising, but that's also what makes the Senior Bowl so special and so fun.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We went with Zach Lyon down at the Senior Bowl. I have to ask you about. I saw Derek Moore from Michigan there, the edge guy, bull rush a couple to Miami. I'm the Miami guy. And I'm like, oh my gosh, man, where is he projected? I mean, is he moving up the board? I also saw the D tackle Lee Hunter there from Texas Tech look pretty phenomenal as well. And another kid I hadn't heard of from Illinois, JACAS. I think was his last name. Gabe was his first name. So I was really interested in some guys I hadn't really paid attention to, let alone the Parker kid from Clemson that kind of stood out. Did they stand out, and who was like at the top of that list at the pass rush level anyway as far as edge?
So Derek Moore was interesting because we went back through and watched the practice tape this morning because they film everything and we get to watch it the next day. So if I don't get to watch Derek Moore in like pass rush drills, I can go back and do that. And so yesterday, my first real big introduction to Derek Moore was when he snatched the soul from Dan Villari, the tight end from Syracuse, and pushed that tight end into the running back to make the tackle on the run stop. And that was insane. And then, of course, you mentioned that he did what he did to the Miami tackle, who the Miami tackle's like built in Frankenstein's lab.
Like
he's like 6'9", 300 and something pounds, something like crazy like that, and just bodied him. But what was interesting, those are the highlights. Everything else is pretty average. Like when he got into 11 on 11s and 7 on 7s, the majority of his reps ended up being average. And now we're into day 2. So when I'm watching day 2 and I'm looking for Derek Moore, does he look a little bit less average? Or do the offensive linemen adjust to him? Because now the offensive linemen know kind of what he is. So he's going to have to adjust. They have to adjust. So maybe we'll get a better gauge of what Derek Moore actually is. But right now he's projected in the 3rd round. If you were just to look at the highlights, you would say that guy's going to be a 2nd rounder. I still think 3rd round, but that's one of the guys I was thinking at the top. Like, he can be a 3rd rounder that gets into the 2nd round with stacking some more days here. You mentioned Lee Hunter. Kid does not stop. That dude does not stop. He was splitting double teams. He has no quit. He is a fun player to watch. He was making run stops, pass rush moves. He was doing everything. He did spin moves. And another kid, Grayson Halton, out of Oklahoma, he's in the 2nd group, the American team, and he was doing like back fist spins and moving people around. He was also really quick. He's a little bit lighter, or at least looks a little bit lighter than Lee Hunter, but in that same mold, he is a disruptor from the defensive tackle position. Those are 2 names really I have enjoyed watching the day 1. And you mentioned Gabe Akis, who is the Illinois kid pass rusher. What was interesting about him is that he looked terrible in the drills. And he's one of those guys I've been wanting to watch down here. And like doing the bag drills and this drill and that, I'm just like, oh crap, he's going to make us look so stupid, because we were talking like, we can't wait to see Gabe Akis out here. And then he gets out in 11 on 11s and 7 on 7s, and he's putting inside moves on everybody. It didn't matter if he's lined up closer to the center or if he's lined up in a wide 9 stance. Doesn't matter if he was standing up. He was putting moves on everybody. He had such a great day yesterday. I'm so interested to see what he does for an encore in day 2 as well.
Yeah, one more player, and I'll let Lucas ask about all the Tennessee guys, but I'll ask about the Vanderbilt guy, and that's the quarterback, Diego, the 5'9", the guy that's the same size as me, playing quarterback in the SEC, dominating, by the way. It may not be the same case there in the National Football League, of course, but how did he look compared to some of the other quarterbacks that are there?
So he is on the national team, which is practicing. They're just kicking off the stretches right now. But at first, my first instinct was like, none of these quarterbacks really wowed me in this first group. I was like, they're all right. And then I go back and watch this morning, and I'm like, okay, Diego, he puts a ball for a wide receiver out of North Carolina, number 34, Josh Cameron. And I'm like, whoa, that ball is beautiful. Deep down the field, only where Josh Cameron can get it. It was beautiful. He had I can't remember who it was, but he had another one of those. And you're like, wait a minute, who threw that? And you have to rewind. And I'm like, holy crap, that's Diego. I thought Diego threw some of the, I guess, best highlight balls, and I don't really think he was too off target or anything. And he's going up against some guys that are kind of built like NFL quarterbacks, right? Like a guy like Sawyer Robinson and
Taylor Green.
Peyton. No, Taylor Green's in the second group, and I thought he looked pretty good on some of his throws too. But I think Diego Pavia was probably the best quarterback yesterday.
Was it mostly out of shotgun before we get it? Because sometimes you're going to be under center, but is he in the shotgun most of the time throwing the football? Because that's the worry of the height.
They do center quarterback exchanges, and I will say he did fumble, I think, at least once. They all kind of fumbled under center, but he fumbled at least once I know of. And he didn't look as comfortable under center. And last year when I called in, I talked about Jalen Milroe, and it seemed like he was in his head a lot.
Yeah.
I could see some stuff from Diego Pavia where it's like that doesn't look natural to him, so he's obviously attempting stuff. But yesterday's national team, the first team practice with him, they all they didn't really spread it out and open the field up a lot. I'm hoping they do that today. A lot of screen passes, a lot of running back passes, but when they did open it up and go to a more traditional passing game offense, I thought Diego Pavia did sign. But you could tell that he obviously was getting coached and working through things, and all these quarterbacks and players are, that he's just not comfortable doing from the college perspective. But I did think from the national team, he probably was the best quarterback, but he was probably, out of the 6 quarterbacks here, probably the third best to Luke Altmaier and Taylor Green.
Gotcha.
Zach, before we get out of here, I have to ask about my Tennessee guys. Bryson Eason, Jalen McMurray, and Colton Hood. I know Colton Hood's name flashed a lot yesterday, at least on social media. What did you see from the Tennessee trio down there in Mobile?
I don't think you want me to talk about Bryson Eason. That's how his day went yesterday. So let's skip to the good performances. Let's skip to the 2 good performances.
Oh, give us a taste of what did you see?
He was on the ground a lot. Let's just put it at that. Whether that's from a defender or just losing footing, he was on the ground.
He had wrong cleats.
Yeah, wrong cleats. Let's just put it at that. He had the wrong cleats. That's a great way to put it.
Well, I mean, sometimes you don't mean to break studs, and then you just slip all over the place.
Okay, so I got a story. This is a story for Blaine. So Jalen McMurray was out here. They were doing 7-on-7s. And Jalen McMurray has been in the slot. He's been outside. He's been safety. They've moved him around. He's one of the few people, this particular group, that they've moved around almost everywhere. And there was a time on 7-on-7s where the quarterback threw a ball, and Jalen McMurray is coming in like a missile to tackle the guy. He obviously pulls up because you can't tackle. But the defensive backs coach starts just screaming, and he is going, that would have been a TV timeout hit. Like, he would have basically said that Jalen McMurray was coming so fast and so hard that they would have had to call the TV timeout because that guy would have been on the ground.
Yes, I love it.
And it was awesome. And I love that phrase, TV timeout hit.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite phrases from this whole experience.
Blaine's given a couple of those in his day.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Colton Hood, probably, if he wasn't the best, he was the second best corner out of both teams.
Oh, wow.
I thought that the corners were very inconsistent anyway, but he was probably the most consistent. They had him in a lot of press coverage, and I thought he acquitted himself well. There's only maybe 1 or 2 times that I thought Colton Hood, the wide receiver, really just truly got the best of him. But other than that, he was in a position to make plays in the hip pocket. Didn't matter if it was a tight end, wide receiver. Didn't matter who he was lined up against, outside, inside, press, zone. He had a really good day. I would say the only guy that maybe had a better day was Julian Neal out of Arkansas. But I thought Colton Hood acquitted himself. He's a guy that's going to be currently practicing here soon. I'm anxious to see if he can build on that momentum now that he's had some experience against these wide receivers. But I thought that he was probably the second or the best corner from both teams yesterday.
Yeah, one thing I want you to watch while you're down there, and sometimes it's hard to see on TV, is I want to see him play off and how well he does there because I've seen him. He's a master at press. So we know he's good at that, and he can go against the best of them. I don't care who you are. Obviously been in the SEC and in the Big Ten. So I want to see him play off, and then I want to see him deep in speed, catch-up speed. I want not half field. I want to see him have to run about 40, 50 yards with a guy in stride, and does he get faster as the ball gets up in the air? That is a true take if he's a first-rounder, solidified first-round guy, because a lot of people are projecting that he's going to be a first-round. I'm interested to see how he looks doing those things, which you don't see a lot of from him.
Listen, I just wrote that down, so that's what I'm going to be looking for these next 2 days when I see Colton Hood take the field.
Yep.
Some homework for you, Zach.
There you go.
I love it. Hey, I love some homework. Football's life.
Zach, before we let you go, have you seen what the Titans contingent down there looks like? Who they sent or how many people they sent?
Yeah, it looked, I think I counted like 7 or 8 scouts. Now, I couldn't tell if like Ziegler or any of the guys, because they were all wearing beanies yesterday.
Oh.
I recognized a few of the scouts, but the NFL teams have their own side. Well, the shade, it was a little bit colder yesterday, and the shade was going down, sun was setting, because practice now doesn't end until 6 p.m., and all the scouts and everybody came over and chased the sun on our side where the lowly workers work. And they came and chased over here. So I saw about maybe 10 or 11 scouts from the Titans, but I haven't seen anybody's face that I recognize. I didn't see a Reggie McKenzie, Chad Brinker, or Mike Bergonzi, but that doesn't mean that's Dan Sagany or Dave Ziegler's here, but I also didn't recognize any coaches. It looked like all scouts to me.
Gotcha. Well, Zach, enjoy the rest of your week down in Mobile. Hopefully it warms up for you a little bit more, and we'll talk to you later.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sounds good.
Awesome. That was Zach Lyons down in Mobile, Alabama, with an update on the Senior Bowl. When we come back, I want to hit a little bit more on this Bill Belichick snub from the Pro Football Hall of Fame, because I think it's just so ridiculous it needs to be talked about more. That's coming up next right here on Cover 2 on 104.5 The Zone.
What's up? It's Zach Lyons. If you wear glasses, you already know the struggle. I'm constantly looking for them, waking up blind without them, knocking them off the nightstand, and don't even get me started on vacations. Swimming, forget it. Fogging up, smudges, scratches, my whole day revolves around these things so that I can see. And the truth is, I've been dealing with blurry vision for years. Glasses help, but they're also a hassle. And lately, I've been seriously thinking there has to be a better way. That's when I started hearing from colleagues here at Cumulus who had vision correction done by Dr. Horn at Vision for Life. And every single one of them said the same thing. They wish they had done it sooner. So I did my homework, I read the reviews, and decided it was time. I'm going to have my vision corrected by Dr. Horn, and I'll walk you guys through the experience step by step before, during, and after at the end of February. If you're tired of dealing with glasses, contacts, or blurry vision, don't keep putting it off. Call Vision for Life at 615-436-2020 or visit visionforlife.com to schedule your consultation. I'll keep you posted, and trust me, I'm excited to finally see clearly.
Welcome back into Cover 2 right here on 104.5 The Zone, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, live from the Circus Sport at the Mint Kentucky Downs. Blaine, we've hit on it a little bit with Zach there in that last segment, but as a five-time Hall of Famer yourself, I want to dive...
Not in the NFL.
Not an NFL Hall of Famer, but five-time Hall of Famer. What is your opinion on Bill Belichick getting snubbed from the Hall of Fame? He didn't get 40 of the 50 votes that he needed. Some of the stuff coming out about the behind the scenes, especially with Bill Polian, is just wild to me. Like, and I get like this is some of these Hall of Fames, especially like baseball and I guess NFL, is these popularity contests where you got guys advocating for some but not others and doing behind the scenes things. What is your opinion on Bill Belichick? Do you think he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Oh, well, I mean, that is a moot point. Obviously,
The fact that it has to be asked.
that's what makes this just so ridiculous. So I just, I always look at the process. And I think they changed the process about coaches, now it could be 1 year done. Maybe they should have left it the same way as 5 years like an actual player. Then we wouldn't be in this issue. But since we are, it just shows you how, it's just kind of, I want to say it's demeaning to the actual, not just the process, but to the people already in the fame. It's just that, probably the greatest coach that at least I've ever seen, especially being in that many championships. I think he has like eight or nine
He has 8
rings
Super Bowls,
Yeah,
6 as a head coach,
crazy.
2 as a assistant.
So the Spygate and, all these things that, which I think a lot of teams were doing, they just got caught. They probably got caught because they kept telling them to stop, and they did not stop, if I was making a guess. That's how the league works. And they still kept winning. And even when they did stop, they still kept winning. And then that was the year they went undefeated, 17-0, just lost the Super Bowl. So I just, to come back and be a little vindictive as a voter, to me, I think there should have been a conversation once they started going down this road of why he shouldn't be. They should have perception-wise, like, how is the greatest coach of this modern era not going to get in on his first ballot?
I know.
So do we need to change what we're doing? Because it's going to come back on us, because this is not going to look good. And I understand about all the voting, and some people, 3 of the people got to make it out of the 5, all those things. But at the same time, I just think this is impossible. Yeah, I felt the same way even with T.O. I felt the same way. Elite players, elite coaches. And I get maybe you punish them maybe for one ballot, but then after that, that should be enough. And for coaching, for that, they paid their price. They have to give up draft picks. They got fined. I guess maybe they hold it a little more higher regard as far as just integrity of the game. But Bill Belichick, when you talk to him, he remembers when it was the modern forward pass. You sit down and talk with him. This one's a tough one to, pill to swallow here for this one here, man. This is, if you want to give it the term petty, this is beyond petty for me.
Now that you mentioned that, so Bill Polian, who general manager for the Colts, it came out yesterday in an ESPN report about the whole situation, that he was a very vocal figure behind the scenes, trying to get people to off Belichick in the first ballot because of Spygate and Deflategate, and that he felt that he had to pay penance for it. Well, then he was interviewed yesterday after the news came out, and he said that he did not come up with that idea, that that was not his idea, that he heard a couple of the voters floated around. He also says he was 95% sure he voted for Belichick to get into the Hall of Fame.
That means he did not.
Which means, yeah, he did not. And he also says, I was shocked to learn Bill didn't get in. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame.
But he didn't say first ballot. He didn't clarify.
There he goes. So Bill Polian playing a little politicking here behind the scenes with Belichick. And, Tom Brady, I saw joined on a radio show, I guess in Seattle, maybe talking about the Super Bowl, saying that it was ridiculous how all this turned out, which I 100% agree with Tom, because it is. An 8-time Super Bowl champion coach should be in the Hall of Fame in this first ballot. It's as simple as that. Regardless of Spygate or Deflategate or whatever, he served his penance for that already. They got punished for that. So when we come back, I want to take a look around the coaching cycle because another head coach was hired today. And the fallout from it is interesting because it's someone that is being affected by it. And the results of it could be interesting for the National Football League. We'll dive into that next right here on Cover 2, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
Naturally, the holiday season is over and everybody has their New Year's resolution. Naturally, everybody wants to get to the gym and you want to lose a little LBs. Well, the approach to getting weight loss at Edge Peptide Hormone Therapy is a little bit different. Make sure all our patients have extensive lab work and face-to-face conversations in office with our nurse practitioner to create a customized treatment plan tailored to their specific needs. They use only USA-based FDA-audited compounding pharmacies because knowing where your peptides come from always matters. And Edge walks you through the process with guiding your treatment plan, answering your questions, supporting you along the way. As well as you get to enjoy access to their in-body scanner to track weight loss and make sure you're maintaining all the muscle mass that you have gained. And Edge always uses the lowest effective doses to make sure that you are resetting your metabolic flexibility, not starving yourself like most people do. You also get to lower your A1C, keeping your cravings in check, prioritizing protein, and having someone guide your journey from start to finish. So call the team at Edge Peptide for all of your wellness questions at 615-724-1878. That's 724-1878. Or you can check them out online at edgepeptide.com.
Good afternoon from the Circus Sports of the Main Kentucky Downs studio. I'm Ross Johnston. We've had another coaching hire as the Cleveland Browns are hiring Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken to be their head coach. Monken has been the OC in Baltimore since 2023, and multiple sources have reported that the Browns will be losing defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz, who is visibly upset after not getting the job. Also, in some other major NFL news, Seth Wickersham has reported that former Patriots head coach Bill Belichick will not be a first ballot Hall of Famer as he fell short of the 40 out of 50 votes that are needed for induction in the first year of eligibility. And Ian O'Connor reports that Giants quarterback Eli Manning did not get in as well. Number 18, Vanderbilt dominated Kentucky last night, 80-55 at Memorial Gym. Also in a top 5 showdown, Michigan held on in Ann Arbor to beat Nebraska 75-72. Lastly, Vol basketball is back on the hardwood tonight as they head to Athens to face the 16-4 Georgia Bulldogs with tip set for 6 p.m. Central. You can listen to the game right here on The Zone as Vol Network's coverage begins at 5:30. For all your foundation repair, waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans of Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Welcome back into Cover 2 on 104.5 The Zone. I'm Joseph Bonanno. Alongside me, the hitman Blaine Bishop from the Circus Sports Studios. Blaine, in this head coaching cycle, there were 10 openings, which is tied for the most openings in a single offseason in NFL history. We are down to 2 that are left to be filled as the Cleveland Browns have made a hire today, hiring Todd Monken, the former Ravens offensive coordinator, as their next head coach. And there's some big fallout to this, to a guy you know, Jim Schwartz, their defensive coordinator, who was in line to be head coach, who many thought was going to be the favorite after so many guys turned down the position. Maybe they wanted to keep some continuity there with the defense because that was what was working for them. I know they talked to Nate Scheelhaus, who's the Rams pass game coordinator, and they told him that they were moving in a different direction. Well, they told Schwartz they were moving in a different direction too, going after Todd Monken instead, where Monken was actually soon to be headed to the Giants, potentially to be their offensive coordinator following Harbaugh. So this came out today from Tom Pelissero, right shortly after the news. So after the Browns informed DC Jim Schwartz this morning that they were passing on him to hire a guy like Todd Monken as head coach, Schwartz was visibly upset, that's a quote, and said his goodbyes in the building, told other coaches he's not coming back. Schwartz is still under contract, and Cleveland wants to retain him, but his future is now unclear with the Browns. What do you make of this? How the Browns have handled this head coaching search? Because Monken is a guy that was not really talked about as one of the leading candidates. It's kind of a dark horse hire, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I don't get concerned with how I view it. It's really how the ownership group views it. I mean, they can make the decision if they want to. I'm actually a little surprised in Schwartz in this report, to be honest. I don't see him in that vein getting super upset about something that an owner makes. That's just not a side that I've seen of him. He may not be happy and thought he had a shot. I don't know what they told him that maybe he was going to be the head coach. But obviously he's a little disappointed. I don't know how the NFL contracts work. If you have a contract, then all of a sudden you don't want to show up as a head or as a coach on staff. How does that work? Do we know? Have we seen this before? So that's what I'm trying to see. Like, he must know that, there's some options here for him, and obviously you can go to the Jets, be in DC, but like, how do you get out of your contract? So this one here kind of baffles me, and obviously he must know more than I do about how you can get out of a contract if you're the DC and, he's unhappy, or maybe he's just leveraging to get a bigger deal and be happy and stay in his lane. I don't know because, I don't know what they told him.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they told him if we don't hire the guy from the Rams, then we're going to make you the head coach. And then all of a sudden he gets upset because all of a sudden Todd Monken comes out of nowhere and they hire him, and maybe they felt like, hey, we're still in a guy that we used to compete against, maybe give us some, help here on what they used to do to attack us and everything like that. And then we got to give him the title. Can't just be the OC. So I didn't see where I would get to a point if I'm sitting in Schwartz's shoes, besides if they told me that.
See, I don't see like a guy like that who has had
Schwartz,
success.
he's a very respectful, mild-mannered guy.
I don't see
He
him
can get
like,
upset, but not like this.
threatening to quit.
Yeah, that,
unless he had confirmation in that building that, okay, if we're not going to go after Shieldhouse, the young guy out of Los Angeles, that, okay, it's going to be you. And then all of a sudden, like a lot of people in the NFL world were shocked when Todd Monken was named the hire because he wasn't really in the running. It was Shieldhouse and Schwartz after everybody else dropped off. So I feel like there's got to be some behind the scenes stuff of like maybe somebody told him something and he had just the idea that job was his. And then they just go out of the blue and hire someone that no one expected. I mean, and for him to like get up and just leave. Like,
well, they said he was saying his goodbyes.
I know.
Like
it was like
and stuff. I'm like, whoa.
And
I know he's got a lot of support in the building from the players, at least on the defensive side for sure.
Oh, I bet. Well, and apparently this is not the only time this has happened now today.
Okay.
The Jets were moving in to get Wink Martindale to be defensive coordinator, flew him up to Florham Park. Connor Hughes reporting this, that basically Aaron Glenn had never told him that he was going to be calling defensive plays. Glenn Martindale was under the assumption that he would be, so they flew him up. Basically came to a disagreement on that, and that fell apart. I think his name's Darren Bucher from the Dolphins. Today is their defensive coordinator. So kind of a second time that a coach has been maybe, I don't want to say lied to, but led astray a little bit potentially.
Ooh.
So now with that situation,
that's about play calling, and that's hiring somebody new and not you already under contract. But I get what you're saying there. Yeah, that happens a little bit sometimes, even after you're in the building. But you gotta know these are once in a lifetime opportunities because ultimately, if you're the play caller, guess what? Old Saleh could say, "Hey, Daboll, we're not running that. We're gonna run this play."
He's the head coach,
right? So you want to give a guy freedom to call plays unless you feel like some things have hurt the team in the long run. That's what a coach is supposed to do. He's supposed to be the CEO and managing. So, if Aaron Glenn says, I'm calling the plays or I'm going to be calling some of the plays, I think you got to respect the coach. That's why relationships matter. That's why everybody was making fun of Vrabel hiring his guys. Well, that's what all the coaches do because they're worried about that kind of conflict. Because these guys want to say, hey, man, well, I'm a play caller. I work my butt to get to this level. I've been calling plays in this league for a long time, and now you're just going to tell me and strip me of play calling duties?
I mean, what do you usually say about NFL coaches? It's all about that ego.
Yeah, so that's tough for a guy to, I'm just going to be a placeholder, especially if you've done it for numerous years.
Yeah.
A little different if this is your first go-round and you're trying to just get in, then it's a different perspective. I'm not surprised that, man, hey, Aaron Glenn, man, I played with him in the Pro Bowl. He's gotten rid of pretty much. He might as well just cleared the whole staff.
He pretty much has. I mean, he's pretty
clear
close.
about the whole team.
Where we're going. Does Schwartz know he can go there? I don't know if I'd be going there because that may be a 1-year deal. By the way,
they've cleared about everybody dang near from their team last year, except for some central pieces.
I know people want to coach in the NFL, but this dead man walking right here, right? I mean, you're going up there for a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Well, I'm surprised Aaron Glenn's still the head coach there, to be honest with you.
Right, at this point, you might as well just say, clean slate, man, after this.
Woody Johnson fired Saleh after he was 2-3 in week 5. That, never really happens. And now
let's not forget, Aaron Glenn was drafted in the first round by who?
Jets.
Yep. See, there you go. See, because there's no way. I'm trying to figure out how is he getting
Well, it's like, where's the direction with their organization?
Yeah, they could have done where he's going.
They could have done all this weeks ago if they were going to clean house, and they could have been in the running for some of these bigger names. Not that they would have gone there because they still are the Jets, I will say. But now you're way behind the 8 ball. And a lot of these jobs are starting to get filled up. And so I say that, and you look at the Browns and what's happened with them, and you look at the Jets and what's going on with them right now.
The Eagles OC?
The Eagles and their opposite, Titans. Titans fans, how you feeling right now? Your organization's doing it right. You're not like the Browns where you've got all this this mess, I should say, with your defensive coordinator, or the Jets where your head coach is just going AWOL and firing everybody way late into the process, or the Eagles where nobody wants to come and take that job. Like, Titans fans, you got to be feeling pretty good about this.
I think fans, and I'm not speaking for everybody, but I think some fans can get jaded because of the past few years and be like, okay, we won 3 games the past 2 years, both seasons, and then won, 6 games in Vrabel's last year and missed the playoffs the year before with double-digit losses. Like, you almost just expect bad things to happen. So they're, like, cautiously optimistic. Yeah, we got Saleh and Daboll, and that seems great, but, like, look at us. Look how we've been the past few years, when it's like, we don't know what's going to happen. Expectations should be good based on these guys, experience.
Well, we can only go up, Ross.
But yeah, that's what you're saying.
No, we're only going up here. No. I'm putting expectations on it already. At least 7 wins. I don't care if Vegas said 2. At least that.
Well, see, and you would think that. I'm just saying, I think some fans are still like, hey, it's been nothing but bad the past few years. How can we expect it to get better? When it's like, we're bad, but we are not the Browns and we are not the Jets.
It can always be worse. It can always be worse. And thank you for the Cleveland Browns and the New York Jets for showing.
That's your guy.
For showing. What?
Oh, your guy, Haslam.
Oh, no. Not when it comes to the Browns.
Don would smack both y'all in the head for saying it can't get worse right there.
I said it. No, I said it can always get worse.
You just said it can't get worse.
I meant it can always get worse. Okay. It can always get worse.
I said it. I know I said that about that. I know that started with the offensive tackle. That's when it started it. But it cannot get any worse.
So with the hire from Cleveland, 2 teams remain, the Raiders and the Cardinals. Mike LaFleur is the favorite in Arizona. They haven't made a hire yet.
One and done.
And for Vegas, they've got 2 guys in the running. I think Davis Webb is the leading candidate right now, but Clint Kubiak is also a candidate. They're just waiting for Seattle to be done, which I guess when your favorite candidate is going all the way to the Super Bowl, you got to wait as long as you can, to get him in for a second interview. So,
you forgot a name, though.
Who did I forget?
Jim Schwartz.
Oh, yeah. You know what? He's on the market now. He's on the market now.
According to what's going on.
He's on the market. Well,
and I think I saw yesterday, Ari Myrov tweeted about the offensive coordinators and how I think yesterday was like there's going to be 17 new coordinators.
Crazy.
Which I think now, I guess it's 19 because Ravens will have a new one and the Browns will have a new one by default. So it's like,
crazy.
We're going to see it's a lot of change in the NFL in just 1 year.
And like a lot of these hires, like they feel like lateral moves. Like I think the Titans with Robert Saleh, the Giants with John Harbaugh, the Dolphins with Jeff Hafley, and maybe the Ravens with Jesse Minter are the 4 where I can sit there and say, okay, yeah, this is a clear advancement. Well, maybe not Jesse Minter because the expectations behind him. So I'll take that one out. But at least those 3, Jeff Hafley, John Harbaugh, and Robert Saleh, I feel like those are a step in the right direction for all 3 of those organizations. But when you look at the Bills with Joe Brady, okay, how are you going to follow up Sean McDermott and what he's done, going to the playoffs for, or winning a game in the playoffs for 7 years in a row, or the Steelers going from Mike Tomlin to Mike McCarthy? Like, that just feels like a lateral move. The Browns with Todd Monken, it's not a very inspiring hire. Like, I really feel like Titans fans, you're sitting here thinking, man, we team kind of did this right this time. Like,
Tom Monken and Swartzy together, though, that don't sound too bad.
I don't think they're going to be together, though.
I know, but that's what the ownership was saying. that don't sound too bad, man.
They, you know what? I heard Bert, or it was either Buck or Bert said this earlier, is that the Browns are trying to have 2 girlfriends at once. So they were swooshing over Jim Ward, saying, "Hey man, you're going to be the head coach, man." And then on the side, they were like, "Todd Monken, what you doing? Why don't you come over?"
Monken was like the side piece. That
Yeah,
like, hey, like,
and then
you know.
it ended up becoming the main piece, and then your main piece and Jim Schwartz was like, "I'm done. I want out. I'm not doing this anymore."
No, he didn't want to play games, huh?
I mean, would you?
I probably would have.
Yeah.
Even if I was in his shoes.
If you felt hurt and stabbed like that, I don't know if I'd want to either.
I wouldn't want to live in Cleveland.
I'm not going to say nobody's going to like it, but you have to know, sitting in the cherry sitting, there's a possibility that you may not be the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's why I said, I think that's why I think they told him something.
They had to have.
And like, you're the coach. If we don't do this, you're the coach. And then all of a sudden that didn't happen. That's the only way I could see how this could fail. Other than that, they kept saying they were going to keep him as a coordinator. And I thought this was the hang up is I think a lot of people saying, well, you do this if we're going to make you keep this guy as your coach. Most coaches are going to be like, man, we want a clean slate, we want guys that we trust. Because guess what? If you want us to keep that guy, he is in a position of power being a DC. Guess what? He has first rights to walk right up to the office and talk to the ownership group. See, that's what you don't want. That's why coaches do that. They clean house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, all those backstabbing things and politics that go on. That happens in coaching.
Blaine, you said something earlier today when we started the show about how you were having high expectations for this team, or you were.
I was getting excited.
You were getting excited about the expectations for this team.
Proposition of what it looks like.
I'm gonna help you raise those expectations.
No.
I'm gonna lift you up and show
Stop 'em.
why the Tennessee Titans could have high expectations, and I'm gonna compare them to a 2025 team that is now competing for a Super Bowl. We'll do that when we come back right here on Cover 2, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. Welcome back into Cover 2, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors, right here on 104.5 The Zone. All right, Blaine, I said I was going to lift up your expectations for the Titans in 2026.
Well, I was already lifted, but you're trying to escalate it. You're saying playoffs right now.
I'm taking them all the way to the top. All the way to the top. And there's no higher than what the 2025 New England Patriots have done this year, taking them all the way to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. And I can't admit, when I was doing this, I did not expect to find a ton of similarities between the 2025 New England Patriots and the 2026 Tennessee Titans. But similarities just kept falling in place, like left and right and from all around. And it got to the point where this is kind of scary. And it's kind of scary because it could raise my expectations way higher than they need to be. And I'm going to go through some of the similarities.
I already know you don't have the answer to this question. You don't know their schedule.
I do not know their schedule. You're right. I do not know their schedule. That is a big caveat to this.
We do know their opponents, so I think we do.
We do know the opponents. I'll look those up. But first, let me go through some of these similarities. So in the offseason of 2025, the New England Patriots hired defensive-minded, known leadership guy, and Mike Vrabel. What did the Titans do in their offseason of 2026? Well, they hired a defensive-minded, a known leadership guy in Robert Saleh. Now, the caveat on this, Mike Vrabel has had success in his previous stop as a head coach here in Tennessee. Although it didn't end well, it did start well, and he had a good couple of years. Robert Saleh with the Jets wasn't necessarily the most successful head coach in the league. What did they do after they hired their head coach? Well, in 2025, the New England Patriots hired a top offensive coordinator candidate in the cycle, getting Josh McDaniels after a failed head coach stint. What did the Tennessee Titans do in 2026? They went after the top offensive coordinator candidate in Brian Daboll after now I will say this, a quote-unquote failed head coach stint in New York. I will say failed just because he was let go after a bad start or a bad half to this season, where he did win a head coach of the year, whereas McDaniels did not. They both have a top 3 draft pick at quarterback heading into year 2. Patriots had Drake May. The Tennessee Titans have Cam Ward. They both have over $100 million in cap space. I think the Patriots had $120 million last offseason. The Titans are sitting around $100 million right now, with the potential to go up depending on what cuts they make to their roster. And they both have the 4th overall pick, and they both have a fourth place schedule that they're looking forward to in the upcoming season. Lots of similarities there between the 2025 New England Patriots and the 2026 Tennessee Titans. Now, I don't want to say the Titans are going to the Super Bowl, because that would be a very wild take to say just based off a couple of similarities, because the caveats that I mentioned, we don't know the schedule, which is what you brought up. Mike Vrabel and Robert Saleh they're similar, I guess, style head coaches, except Mike Vrabel had a lot more success in his previous stop and has been to the AFC Championship game before, and so had a little bit of taste of that, plus the fact that he was a part of those New England teams that went to the Super Bowl way back when. How do you feel about all these similarities that I've listed out for you?
Well, I think that's what a lot of people are going to do and act like, and I'm going to say this, ownership groups are all looking around saying how they having that kind of success, and not just Vrabel, but other coaches too, in first-year stops. And, with the way, free agency and the draft and the turnover on rosters, man, it's happening with young coaches being hired all over the place. Lim Cohen is a good example. So I think it's feasible. Asking Super Bowl, no, that's really tough. But I would say the expectations are, I'm hoping with the right things in place as far as draft and free agency, I think they got a great shot of just on the coach's acumen, the coaching staff, and their experience, and we got to be pushing for the playoffs. I think that would be my expectation. That's still probably a little unfair not having all the pieces in place already, but I would say that would be me being realistic. That would be a goal. That if you come up a little short, I wouldn't be super upset. But if we hit things right, man, you get the right players for the right system is, man, you could really take off pretty fast. And I've said that even before these hires, that with the right hires that they could, and I think they've done a great job. And I'm saying they, as a group, led by Amy Adams Strunk. So let's give her some credit and some props for that. But I think one thing you can't account for that Vrabel had that is a little bit different is his familiarity with the organization. They already had chemistry there. He knew what the culture was about based off of the coach before him.
Mm-hmm.
Not Mayo, but naturally Bill Belichick. And then the human element part of it of you're in a comfort zone. It's no different if, you go back and be the head coach. You're the head baseball coach at your high school. You're at a comfort zone level and you understand what it's like to be there. You've been in their shoes. You understand it. You were one of them. So I think that plays into it a lot too. Which is a little bit different than what the Titans done here. So we shall see how quickly everything comes together. But anybody who knows me and has played with me knows chemistry is utmost important for me, especially as a player to player, and then coaches, because you're supposed to be all on the same page. That takes a minute to get to that spot. It's tough. That's why I respect what Vrabel did quickly with those players, that chemistry that you had to build and the trust amongst the coaching staff. So that's why he hired his guys, because he knows they know what he wants. So then they implemented that into the players, and then the players start believing. And once they start believing, the sky's the limit. And they already had a quarterback, and you got McDaniel, who was, Kraft, push for McDaniel. So,
yes,
McDaniel. So that, things worked out the way it was supposed to, and I'm elated for them. It'll be interesting to see how they match up though in this game. I always thought the Seahawks was the best team all season overall in the entire NFL. I thought the Rams were number 2, even though they were in the same division. So this will be, you never can bet against Vrabes, and I would say Drake May has only played probably half as good as you thought he was going to play in the playoffs compared to what he did in the regular season. So he may liable have a good game at some point here, even though he's still going up against a good defense and overall team. So it's just hard to bet against Vrabel, but, man, I think the Seahawks just have a little too much for him.
So one thing that the Patriots did in 2025 is, now I mentioned they had $120 million in cap space going into the offseason. They did some spending, but they didn't just go throw willy-nilly contracts at the biggest name free agents out there. They did smart spending, which is what I think the Titans and Mike Bergonzi are going to have to do with their $100 million going into this offseason, is find the right players that fit the culture of the franchise that you're trying to build under Robert Saleh.
Well, I'm going to give you an example. Would you have signed Diggs if you were the Patriots before they signed him? Coming off an ACL. By the way, an aging veteran who's, he's 30 or more. So, as you could say what it is, we all know the results. But I thought that was a risky, the money they gave him. I just don't know if I would have done that.
3 years, $69 million for Stephon Diggs.
I don't think I would have. He wouldn't have been my first choice. But to Joseph's point, they're getting guys that fit what they're trying to do. And Diggs has certainly done that. We can all look and see he's obviously not what he was maybe 3 years ago. But he still went for 1,000 yards this year, and he provides an element for them that they did not have.
And I feel like Vrabel's done a good job kind of reeling him in after what we kind of saw at the end of his tenure in Buffalo and with the Texans. He's kind of come in, and I feel like he's really bought in.
So what do we see?
With Diggs?
Yeah.
Well, you've seen the stuff off the field with the partying and the incident on the boat a few months ago before the season.
What happened on the boat?
Oh, maybe he was passing some stuff around that didn't look.
No, this is after they signed him. I'm talking about before.
The partying and stuff was stuff he did before, but I think Vrabel has done a good job, at least throughout the season, reeling all that in and keeping him locked in and focused on what their goal is.
No, he did the partying on the boat. That was after he was with the Patriots. It was just in the offseason. He had already signed with them.
I could have swore there was more stories than just that one.
I think mostly the stories were about him and Josh Allen get into it and frustrations in Buffalo.
Right, that's where I wanted him to go.
Yeah, I guess that.
So now, mind you, that's why I said that was a risky move. Oh, so you want to bring that guy to mess with your young quarterback?
Well, again, that's faith in your head coach to reel him in. And
well, see, that's the thing. We see that nowadays.
So Sean McDermott couldn't wheel him in. Diggs, see.
Maybe not. I'm just saying,
Maybe
like, we
not.
see that.
He did get fired.
We see that nowadays, though, and really, like, across a lot of league history, and you know this, Blaine, like, it is easy to get a guy who may have national concerns perception-wise with his, who he is and whatnot. It's easy to get a guy like that when you have a strong culture in place, like with the Steelers this
But
past.
he was building it, and he made him a part of building it, though. That's what was interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
Diggs is the leader. You go watch. He's the one talking to all the players
fairly.
before the entire team, not just the receivers.
because I was going to say,
It's
too,
like,
like,
wow.
we saw it this past year with the Steelers, like lots of people had concerns with them getting Aaron Rodgers because, of the perceived drama and all that, and nothing happened in Pittsburgh. But that's because of the strong culture that Mike Tomlin had built.
Right.
So it's doable. It's just like nationally, we look at it and can be like, why are they getting this guy exactly? Why are they paying the X amount of money?
Yeah.
Well, and part of the reason why they could give Diggs the money that he did is not only the culture that they've set in, but look at some of the other spending that they did.
The culture wasn't built yet.
They had faith that Mike Vrabel would be able to set it. Is what I'm saying.
But in this short window, which is remarkable, and
it is
Diggs leading the way.
It is incredibly remarkable what they've done.
Leading the way outside of him passing the drugs around on a boat. See, I mean, like, it doesn't match up. Like, come on, man, it is what it is. He did what he did.
Yeah.
Like, we saw it. And then, by the way, conveniently, they keep pushing the court date after the Super Bowl.
No, that is shit.
I'm like, come on, man. Like there was risk taken here, and they hit on them on their risk. Because I don't know if I would have done the Diggs deal.
And I don't know if the Titans are in a position to do that risk. I really
Diggs was viewed upon now like T.O. was when I was playing. That was a risky proposition, especially a guy like Vrabel.
Mm-hmm.
That is not that was that one there. He rolled the dice and he won that one.
But I was going to say, like, I've said this before on the show probably a while ago, but I truly think what the NFL comes down to is good organizations and bad organizations over anything else. Because there's good players everywhere. And, Coach, when you go to the Patriots, I know Belichick is not there, but that is an organization that, the Patriots way, we always have talked about with them. That organization has a culture to it regardless of kind of who's in that seat. And you go to a different organization, like if Diggs was on the Jets, do you think there would be more problems? I would say so.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because it's just different organizations and expectations when you were in a certain building, I think, in the NFL.
Maybe something to that.
Steve B in the chat says, at what point can you take that risk? I'm assuming he's talking about the Titans. I mean, when you have a set culture, like New England, when you think of New England, what do you think about the Belichick regime, the Tom Brady era and I know they had that little spout in the middle where at the end of Belichick and Mayo where things kind of weren't going right, but they never lost vision of what they wanted their culture to be and what they wanted their direction as a franchise to be. The Titans, unfortunately, I feel like have lost that in the last couple years where it's kind of like they're trying to patchwork things together. Now, I think the moves that they've made with the front office, with Mike Berganzi, the coaching staff, with Robert Saleh and Brian Daboll are a step in the right direction towards rebuilding that culture and putting something stronger behind this organization. In terms of when you're ready to take a risk like that, I mean, that's stuff that inside the organization that you have to feel. It's not going to be in year one, I don't think. The reason that Vrabel could do it in year one is because, like you said, he's got familiarity with the organization. There is already a chemistry between him and what Robert Kraft and the rest of that organization want the New England Patriots to be. I feel like here, that chemistry isn't built yet. That's why I don't think they can take that risk in year one like the Patriots, which is a big reason why I put all that stuff out there about, okay, let's raise our expectations. Like, look at all the similarities. That's where you got to temper them is, okay, you got to think about the back end of that organization and what the Patriots have done over the last decade versus what the Titans have been over the last decade.
Yeah, I think you guys are taking it a little further than I would in making assumptions that just because it's the building, the Patriots, because of their winning culture, once that coach leaves, the culture goes. If not, then why didn't Mayo win? He was just that bad of a coach.
There's some conspiracy theories behind that.
So that's what it's not as easy. The coaches, build the culture. And that's why Vrabel, we all know, is a culture builder. And that's why it happened so quickly, because he demands it. If not, you won't be one of his guys. And that's the way it is. That's why I thought it was really odd that Diggs. is his culture builder. We can say the Titans took a risk. Okay, Ridley. Well, he's not a culture builder. He actually is a really nice guy who kind of just is, does his thing. Yeah, he's not a leader or any of those things. Diggs has a passion about him that can be conflicted with, oh, he's a troubled guy if you're losing, but if you're winning, he's a culture guy. And see, that's the part I thought was risky. And I just, it's fascinating that it worked. So he may have known something about this guy that we didn't, that it was more about he was upset that things weren't going his way because they should have. Because the film don't lie. The eye in the sky don't lie. And he's wondering why he wasn't getting thrown the ball, because he's the one's going to take all the criticism when it's over with and he's not getting the ball. No different than what A.J. Brown is doing right now.
Oh, yeah, it's
all season. Right.
Similar,
see, you can start getting paid $30 million and you got 4 targets. They're wondering, and you still winning. What's wrong with him? Because everybody's wondering, why did you only get 4 targets? Were you open? Did they D you up? They locked you down?
And with Diggs,
that's why I said that one there shocked me.
Look who made it to a Super Bowl first between him and Josh Allen. I mean,
Diggs.
It was Diggs.
So, is it Allen or was it Diggs? I don't know.
I was going to say, the organization chose Josh Allen over Stephon Diggs, and they chose Josh Allen again over Sean McDermott. Not that there was something between Josh Allen and Sean McDermott, but the owner made it pretty clear that he saw Josh Allen crying in the locker room and said, yeah, we need to change our coach.
But my whole point is, a lot of things have to fall your way, and you have to take some calculated risk. And so with the things kind of being somewhat similar here, what risk will those be? We don't know yet until they start doing the free agency and the draft. I mean, so it's really hard to say. But, man, I want to say just because they've been experienced head coaches, whether it failed or worked or not, and whatever the circumstances were, they understand what needs to be done to build their culture and how to win football games in the National Football League. That is for sure.
We'll continue this conversation when we come back. We'll also jump in with Larissa real quick before we close things out. This is Cover 2 on 104.5 The Zone, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors.
One of the marks of a good parent, right? They warn their kids about danger, 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 danger. Who to trust and what to avoid, how to make smarter choices. Hey, folks, it's Blaine Bishop for Eurofix. And Eurofix repairs European vehicles. And Eurofix believes in warning their customers, too, at the same time. In one case, Eurofix wrote a $5,500 refund check to a customer. You say, who does that? Eurofix polices themselves. And you say, why? Because not every auto shop tells you the full story. Some oversell, others cut corners. Some just may not know what to do. So you could pay for something that maybe you don't need? That was always a question for me. And Eurofix makes quality repairs at below dealer pricing and has been since 1999. And you get a free 15-minute no-wrench inspection and a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty on all the work Eurofix performs. And rental cars are available with every appointment. So you want to stay off the tow truck and on the road, and you do that by going to Eurofix. Family-owned, locally, for over a quarter of a century. 5 locations and more to come. And all you have to do is just give them a call at 844-EUROFIX. That's right, 844-EUROFIX, or you can check them out online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Welcome back into Cover 2, brought to you by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. I'm Joe Sfanato alongside the Hitman Blaine Bishop for our final segment of the Wednesday edition. We were talking about the culture that New England has and where Tennessee's culture is headed with these new hires. I know some people in the chat are talking about Vrabel and how his control boils down in New England and what kind of happened here with control here. But you got to think, like, at some point we got to move on from what Vrabel did in Tennessee and how that ended. Like, at some point you got to think, hey, he's in New England now. We got to put all of our focus on Robert Saleh and what's for the future of the current Tennessee Titans, which, like I said at the beginning of the show,
whatever his culture is going to be.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning of the show with the Daboll hire, like that is a step in the right direction.
We sure hope so.
And I know that, and I think it was reported yesterday by Paul Kaharski that Daboll got a 3-year contract, but I'm pretty sure everybody's under the impression that if this thing goes the way they think it's going to go, that Daboll is more than likely gone after 1 year.
But how can you form your mouth to say stuff like that when they ain't even signed free agents or drafted? That's what holding me back just on talking about winning. Like, you don't know until they still have the same pieces are still here.
That's true.
So until we see how these other pieces match up, you would hope that those things would all happen.
That's if everything goes right, is what the expectation is.
We
if
all know
everything
there's a
goes
human
right.
element. Everything's not going to go right. Everything's not going to go right. It may go good, but everything's not going to go right.
Well, hopefully it goes good enough
It's
hopefully it goes good enough where Daboll's like in contention for some of these jobs, but not so well where he gets pulled away after year one and we get him for 2 years with Cam Moore.
Or he's like,
I'm going to predict he's going to be here for the next 3 years.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
or he's like,
all right, write that down, Ross.
It goes well, and then he's like,
the next 3 years.
ooh, the only job
2
on the
for sure.
market. The only job on the market is the Jets job. I don't really want to do
chop
that.
my legs off right now.
Yeah, what if like the Jets are the only job open next year? And I don't want to go back to New York.
If I say it and I put it out there, guess what? Nobody else is going to say.
No, I know.
Nobody else is going to say he's going to be here for all 3 years.
Let's get Larissa in Nashville real quick.
Larissa will.
before
She'll
we
have
head
my
out.
back,
Larissa,
Larissa.
what do you think about this Daboll hire and how long he's
He'll
going to
be
be
here
here?
at least 2 years, right, Larissa?
I love you guys in not in a weird way. You guys are amazing. And look at you, Zach. You are doing it, hon.
Yeah.
But with all that said, this is such an electric time for the Titans fans and the team. You know, it's good things to come. And I'm looking forward to the press conference tomorrow. I still am not saying his name because I don't think I'm saying it right. But I think it's a great hire. You can't help but be excited about this. And if you're not excited about it, then check your pulse. You know, come on. This is so fun. And but I'm going to pivot a little bit. From the Titans, the whole Bill Belichick thing, not okay. No bueno. No.
Yeah.
I mean, from dawn to dusk, there's always a moment when you need to think things through. And it's quite clear there needs to be a change. And whoever is voting on this, on how this man did not become one of the first, shame on you.
Yeah.
But I'm loving every bit of it, and I love this station. And I'm that curling event, I'm hoping to be a part of it. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I'm going to hang up and listen,
Look forward
guys.
to seeing you, Larissa. Yeah.
Appreciate that, Larissa.
Yeah.
We always enjoy your support
What if this
here.
was just a big cycle of news and he gets in on first ballot?
Oh, like all this is just
Belichick.
talk. All this is just talk, and then all of a
Like,
sudden,
we don't know officially that he's out, right? There hasn't been any.
Until what? Will we know before the NFL honors, which is coming up?
I don't know. I think that's when they announce it, actually.
Man. So is Andy Reid not first ballot now either?
Oh, my
Can't be.
gosh.
Oh, I mean, if you
People were asking Tom Brady. Of course, Tom Brady is. Andy Reid can't, though.
Andy Reid never got caught cheating.
yeah, but he served his penance for it, Blaine.
You ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Yes, and that's what I believe in, man. Come on, man. That's over with. We can't use that as an excuse for Belichick.
That was years ago.
Come on.
The past is in the past,
Man.
except for the Super Bowls. Those are always going to be in the present.
Maybe Jordan can get him in, his little girlfriend.
Okay, on that note, we're going to close the show here. Appreciate that, Ross. Tomorrow, we will be previewing the press conference as Robert Saleh will be officially introduced as the Titans head coach to the media. We will play the press conference live at 2 o'clock. So make sure you guys tune in for that. So in the meantime,
and in between time, peace.
Jordan.